Good morning, guys. My name is Ms. Velasquez, and today I'm going to be teaching you about maintaining home language. So, I want to go over the two objectives. So by the end of the lesson, you guys will be able to identify 2 reasons why it is important to maintain a student's home language, and you will also be able to list at least 2 strategies to maintain a student's home language. So this lesson will be relevant for dual language learners, English language learners, or people that are even just fluent in Spanish but their families speak a different language at home. So before we go into our lesson, I just wanted to know what you guys know about the topic. So has anyone had any experience with a friend, classmate, or even a student whose family speaks a different language at home than they do at school?
Yeah, one of my best friends throughout high school.
Oh, really?
Yeah, his family only spoke Spanish, and his mom knew a little bit of English, but really
Okay.
broken, and she didn't really speak it at all at home and spoke English in school.
So can anyone think of any reasons why it would be important to try to maintain, if that was your student, their home language?
It's important to keep a student's culture, like they don't want to lose everything that they've had just because they speak a different language at school.
Exactly. So that's something we're going to go into. So today we're going to talk about 6 reasons why it's important to maintain a child's home language, even though there are many more. And first, we're going to be talking about a second language development. So when you are dealing with a student who speaks a different language at home, there are higher chances of them becoming a bilingual student. And as you guys probably know, there are many benefits to being a bilingual speaker, which we will go over later. So when you are having a student who speaks a different language at home than in school, you always want to encourage that second language development. So social emotional development, it is really important for you as their teacher to show that you value their home language. And can anyone think of any reasons why this might be the case?
Like you don't want them to feel isolated or that you don't care.
Exactly. So you want to make them feel comfortable in their classroom. Anyone else?
Not only comfortable in their classroom, but like comfortable in their own skin, kind of.
Exactly. So that's what we were just going to go into. When you show them that you value their home language, it helps them develop a positive and healthy self-identity, and it also helps them develop a sense of pride for their culture and their language, and that helps a lot with their confidence. So for facilitates and deepens relationship, a teacher should never ask a student's parents to speak to their child in English or in any language that you are focusing on in the classroom. So does anyone have an idea why this would be the case?
I mean, first off, the parents might not know English, so you're really asking a lot of them to like learn an entire new language.
Exactly. So when you ask a student's parents to only speak to them in English, they might not be able to effectively communicate with them in English. So this could really put the relationship between the parent and the student at risk. And then that student could not be possibly receiving the support and the connection that they need to have with their parents. And this also follows through with like grandparents or aunts and uncles, because if they feel uncomfortable speaking in their native language to them, then the student might not be able to form a strong relationship with those family members. So homeschool collaboration. Can anyone tell me any reasons why it might be beneficial to reach out to the family in their home language?
It helps to build a stronger relationship with
Yep.
the family, so they know that you're more understanding of them and what they're going through, and can effectively communicate with them.
Exactly. So you can give them strategies and techniques. So you could kind of help them with their child and like help them juggle raising a child who's learning both languages, and you can also share important information about events and things that they should know about the school. And then you can enhance student learning, because when you are able to communicate with the parents in their home language, you can also receive information about the student that you're working with, and that could help you with their development. So then cognition, bilingual speakers have proven to be flexible thinkers and problem solvers, and they also are really great at solving math concepts and word problems. So again, as previously mentioned, when there is a possibility of a student becoming a bilingual speaker, you always want to encourage that and not disencourage it. And then future employability, can anyone see how this would play a role?
I mean, just because our society is kind of moving so globally, so if someone can speak multiple languages, can communicate with more people and probably get a better job.
Exactly. So just the growing need for bilingual individuals in the workforce. So again, just as previously stated, you always want to encourage the development of 2 languages if that's a possibility. Okay, so now we just talked about the importance of maintaining a student's language, and I want you guys to think if you could develop any strategies of how to maintain a student's language. So try to talk with your partner and see if you could think of any ways to do that.
I was thinking that like
Seriously,
like easy, like simple words that like
find
students
out
can
how to
speak
write
if
in
they
their
want to.
language, like a
Just
hand
like
language or give translation, just like.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah.
Have like our students who are like share
Yeah, like
with
if I
us
was
a
like
little bit
that,
about
I like particularly
Yeah,
like
no,
like
yeah, like
that's
that's a
about
good
it,
idea.
so that, yeah, so to share with our students.
talk about it, show them it's important.
Yeah, just like a really good idea, and like it'll help them like integrate inside or like in the outside of class, just so they don't share that culture.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that idea. Because that could make them feel not kind of singled out a little bit.
Yeah.
Alright, so you guys want to share what you thought?
We were saying just like kind of have posters up around the room of simple words that like everybody could say that are familiar to the student who speaks the language, and then it could be something new to a different student.
Yeah, I like that idea. Like you could put labels like where the clock is and have it
Yeah.
in English or in the other language that the other student learns. Anything else?
And we talked about just having students maybe share with the class, like talk a little bit about their culture and the language they speak at home, and kind of allow them to share, and then they kind of are the ones who are the experts on it, and they can share that with other students and realize that, you know, you kind of support it and appreciate it.
I think that's a great way to help them develop like a sense of pride in their culture and kind of like be proud of it instead of kind of dodge it almost. I like that idea. Gabby had something similar to that too.
Yeah, I said that, you can have every student bring in something from their culture so that the one student who's bilingual doesn't feel isolated or singled out.
Yeah.
Anything else? Alright, so I just have 2 strategies up here. So I think it's important to share resources with families of why it's important and why it's valuable to maintain a home language. So this could help them because now they realize that it is important that their child is speaking both English and their home language. And this also shows them that it's important to you to maintain that home language. So I think that goes a long way. And then you could also offer handouts in their home language just to make them feel more comfortable in the community and more aware about what's happening. So before we do our final closing activity, I just want to go over the objectives again. So make sure that you guys are able to list at least 2 reasons of why it's important to maintain a student's home language and be able to develop 2 strategies of how to maintain a student's home language. So now I have a scenario for you guys and I'll read it out loud for you. And then as an exit ticket, I want you to be able, I have them right here. I want you to be able to develop 2 reasons why it's important for the student to maintain their home language. And I want you to focus on 2 of the 6 that you think are most relevant in his scenario. And then also be able to develop 2 strategies of how you can help him maintain his home language. So a new student in your class, James, although speaks only Spanish at home, speaks perfect English in school. However, he missed the last field trip because he never brought back a signed permission slip, and one day you notice that all the handouts that he is supposed to bring home are still in his folder. During Spanish class, James is quiet and never volunteers to read or respond to questions, even though you know he is one of the best Spanish speakers in the class. As an exit ticket, identify 2 reasons why it is important to make an effort to maintain James's home language. Choose the 2 of the 6 that you think is most relevant in this scenario and develop 2 strategies to make this possible. So when you're finished with that, you can hand it in to me and feel free to go. Thank you guys so much for joining me today.
How much time does she have?
Left?
Yep.
1 minute and 59 seconds.
So right, you guys keep writing, because that will be useful feedback for you. You'll be able to use it in the lesson. And we're doing okay on time.